And then I fell 2 stories, but then I hit a vent on my way down with my shoulder and then landed on my feet.
No way.
Yep.
Wait, like you landed on your feet standing up?
Yeah. So I hit this vent and then I just flipped off onto my feet.
That's insane.
Yeah, like 2 days after, I was supposed to go to China and then North Korea and then Kyrgyzstan.
I get a little bit of red flags when I start to feel too comfortable. And I feel like there's no growth in comfort.
This is Philip Van Nostrand, and you are listening to the Epic Freelance Life podcast. How to make more money and live an epic freelance life.
Okay, hello. My name is Philip Van Nostrand, and you're here with the Epic Freelance Life podcast. And I'm here with my new friend, Lakshmi, who I met 2.5 weeks ago at a dinner party. Lakshmi, hello.
Hello. Good chatting.
You say, yeah. Thanks for being here. You signed in on my podcast recording software, and you have Shmi as your nickname. So I'm going to call you Shmi. Is that okay?
That's perfect. My name has gotten steadily shorter over all of the years to now just 1 syllable. So
okay, good. Do you want to say your full name and who you are?
Yeah, my whole name is Vijaya Lakshmi Parthasarathy. So you can understand why people just were like, we'll call you Shmi.
Yes.
I am a software engineer, theoretically based in New York City, but mostly wandering around traveling. I currently am working with a company called Free Will. It's a legal tech company. We help people make wills and donate to charity really easily. And in the past, I've traveled and freelanced building websites. When I was my pre-freelance life, I was working at Google for a few years as an engineer. Now I currently am in Amsterdam, coding and also pursuing my habit as a mediocre drone pilot and writer. I meant hobby, not habit.
That's awesome. I don't think I knew any of those things. I did know that you're a little bit of a writer, but I didn't know about the drone pilot part. So let's pause right there then. I have lots of questions. First of all, I'm happy to say that I have used your software, Free Will, before I met you. I just went online to see if I had an account, and I do. I created my own last will and testament 2 years ago or so. Mm-hmm. So congratulations. It's working great.
Oh, amazing. Love to hear that.
Yeah. And I'm assuming I'm using something that your hands touched, which is really cool.
Yep.
And for those who don't know, Free Will is, this is not an ad for Free Will at all, but basically what you guys do is allow people to easily create a will online. It didn't take me very long, like under 30 minutes, I think. And just something that if you've ever been like, I feel like I need to have this in my life, you can take those steps now. And it's very simple. And I liked that because I always felt like it was something I needed to go find a lawyer for and get complicated.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Everyone needs to have a will. I'm okay with this being a very short ad for Free Will. Most Americans don't have wills, and it's a big problem for your family, expenses, and it's your chance to leave a legacy and figure out where you want to, where the people and causes that you care about.
Yeah. So and it's cool. Everyone, you could check it out. It's over at freewill.com. Very easy. So you work there full time, but your full time is you're doing what I always imagined programmers or creatives like yourself should do is you can, if you're coding, you can literally be in any cafe anywhere in the world, sort of. And that's sort of can you tell me exactly where you are right now? Because you said you're in Amsterdam, but you're on
I'm on a houseboat.
Yeah, that's so good.
I'm actually on a houseboat in the most sustainable floating neighborhood in Europe. I don't actually know how many floating neighborhoods there are in Europe or the world, but it's pretty cool. It's like
tell me what it's like, and I want to ask how you found it.
Yeah, it's like a self-sufficient community of 145 people. They just use solar panels, heat pumps, and they're very environmentally friendly. And I guess Amsterdam is a city that's a sizable chunk of it like could go underwater. And so this is like
Oh, wow.
supposed to be a very like future forward thinking kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People will be coming to them when things get out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't never been to Amsterdam, but my favorite place to go when I'm in London is walking along the canals and checking out all the houseboats. And
Mm-hmm.
so you are also living like another fantasy of mine, which is to be on a houseboat somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, and I met you 2.5 weeks ago, and you were talking about like going back to the Congo or whatever, and you had just been in Colombia for months, but nothing about Amsterdam left your lips when we were talking. And I want to know how you got from the rooftop in Brooklyn to a houseboat in Amsterdam in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So the Congo is still in the plan. That's happening next week. I'm going on vacation there. Um,
Okay.
and I was looking at flights from New York, and all of them pass through Europe. And I thought, why don't I have a really long layover?
Mm,
And
mm.
it's actually always been a dream of mine to like chill in a houseboat. And
Cool.
and I know Amsterdam is all about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to ride a bike in circles around a canal and then go take a nap in my houseboat.
I love this, and you were also saying because you are a programmer with a company that exists in the United States, that previously you were trying to only travel to places where it was more or less in the same time zone, but
Hmm.
now you're trying an experiment. Do you want to kind of describe what you told me your experiment is?
Yes, my experiment is working during the evenings and having the whole day to explore. One of the things that I've disliked about working and being in an office, I realize, especially, you can think back to winters in New York when you're just
Hmm.
sitting at your desk and then you leave and it's dark outside already. Um,
Yeah, the
and
whole day is gone.
Right, exactly. And I love doing day things because I love being outdoors. So when I was like in Colombia, which was in a great time zone for East Coast, but I
Uh-huh.
actually wanted to go like trekking into the jungle or go like hang out on the beach. And then during the evenings, I would have rather worked then. Um,
Yeah.
so I actually thought like, actually, I'm gonna flip this around and then see how I enjoy um, the different life.
And how long have you been trying this out? Just like a few days or a week or so now?
It's only been a couple days now.
Yeah.
Um, so far, it's been good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we'll see. Because I'm curious, like when you meet normal people out there, which maybe you're not, but I'm assuming if you meet anybody interested in Amsterdam, they'll probably want to hang out around like 7 or 8 p.m., but then you'll be working, right? Or
yeah, I think that's probably going to be one of the and more annoying parts. I think I also have a lot of friends though that are just like traveling, right? Maybe they're just like
got it.
backpackers, or they're also doing freelance. Or
Okay.
more freelance than I am, and that they're not doing like full time. So
Yeah, yeah.
they don't have as much of a schedule or meetings to get to. And so I've actually historically spent a lot of my time around those kinds of people. Even a lot of my
Got it.
friends in New York, like they make money, but they do it in not your 9 to 5 way. Like
Uh-huh.
one of my good friends, he's into real estate. And so he's always flipping houses. And so we were
Yeah.
traveling in Peru. It was with like a group of 10 people. And there's only a couple of us that had more of the 9 to 5 ish kind of things. And other people had different
Mhm.
kinds of jobs. So I think that probably because I have a group of friends, or I tend to meet people that are living a less orthodox lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um, this can be good. But also, like, I'm okay with having my days off so that I can go do outdoor things and then skipping
Yeah.
out on some of the the like going out. And then I can say that for the weekend.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's interesting. And you're kind of I mean, you're not technically a freelancer, I guess, because you're employed by this one company, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
just feel like I'm living the freelance life now. But I have
yeah,
done freelance before.
no, I mean, this is why I like you, because when I was talking to you, I was like, oh my God, this woman's living basically a freelancer's dream life, but somehow like still employed full time. And
Yeah.
like you said, working 9 to 5 hours or 8 hours a day, which is so fascinating to me because I feel like Are those hours self-imposed, or is your employer like telling you you got a bunch of stuff you need to do and it takes 8 hours a day? Because I feel like, I don't know, don't programmers or engineers work on their own timelines generally?
Yeah, I've always worked odder hours.
Hmm.
And I've always been much more of a night owl too. Like I think my best work was always came at like 2 a.m. anyway.
Okay, yeah.
So I never got rid of that like college like coding into
Yeah, that's how
the
I
dead of the
feel
night.
actually.
Yeah, and anytime I'm doing something like creative, I like to just have these like huge chunks of time where I just like work on it into like the wee
Hmm.
hours of the night. And so I think there's the blocks of time where I want to be there. There's like meetings, and you're like meeting with the team, but then otherwise it's work on your own time. Um,
Yeah, that's
so
so
yeah, I think I'm having
cool.
the best of both worlds right now, which is great.
And would you ever like split it up? I mean, would you ever work like, I don't know, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., but also pull like 4 hours in the middle of the day or something, if it's, especially if it's like blazing hot in the middle of the Congo, which I'm imagining it is in the middle of
um,
the day.
yeah. I definitely will work in different chunks of time.
Yeah.
It depends on the specific stuff that I'm working on. I've found myself like, working in airports or
Yeah,
on
exactly.
buses and trains.
Same.
So I've had to
Yep.
train myself to, be able to like focus
Uh-huh.
very, very quickly in like odd circumstances. Probably in the Congo, I'm going to work from Kinshasa. I'm going to try this out for some time, a few
Okay.
days, but I'm planning on going on an expedition up the Congo River to like the
Oh,
interior, and there I will
wow.
not be working.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you even have internet out there?
No,
It's gonna be
I don't
tricky.
think I'll have electricity or anything. So,
Ooh, that's so crazy. So I guess this kind of leads to maybe a common question that I'm imagining you get a lot, which is, as like a single female in her 20s or 30s,
Mhm.
um, is it safe, easy for you to travel like this? Like, have you had problems, or why do you not feel afraid to travel into the interior of Congo with no electricity? Yeah,
Yeah, I
curious.
mean, I've been doing some crazy things by most people's standards for
Yes.
a long time, and I'm fine. And my philosophy at the end of the day is that I would rather live my life. I'm not going to not do the things that I want to because something might happen. And to be honest, I think that traveling has given me a positive outlook on humanity, and that like for every one person that maybe I've not had a good interaction with, I've had like thousands of people that have really like bent over backwards
Yeah.
to help me. And people, maybe because I'm actually a young female and might be like lost somewhere, then like people
Uh-huh.
people will help you. So
That's
I get
nice.
far more
Yeah,
people
that's
pushing.
beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that. I'm actually, that kind of confirms, I'm working on a book project called How to Live an Epic Freelance Life. One of the chapters I am trying to write is called The World is Not a Scary Place. And
Hmm.
I'm convinced that what you just described is true across the board. Like, you could land anywhere in almost any country, and more people will look to help you or host you or guide you somewhere than to take advantage of you. I think that's very
Yeah,
true.
definitely.
And
Of
I
course,
think travelers
traveling.
know that. Oh yeah,
Hmm.
go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree. Of course, traveling to some places like the interior of the Congo has its own dangers for like any human being.
Yes.
There's so many people that are so afraid to travel to many destinations that it's like, no, it's so safe, like it's so fine. And especially with technology nowadays, you can
Yeah.
you can make it so much more safe. Like I think that the hardest parts, like traveling before, were sometimes just when you arrive and just really like getting your bearings. But like
Uh-huh.
nowadays, you can just get an Uber. You can just arrive at
Yes.
the airport, get an Uber straight to where you're trying to go, to your hostel, whatever. And
And your
there's
phone
no
has
reason.
service, and you can use
Hmm.
Google Translate and Google Maps and literally anything. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I
Hmm.
mean, that's what I just spent. I think I saw you right after I had been to Morocco for 10 days.
Hmm.
And And the very first challenge we had was we left the airport without changing money, and we realized we needed money to get through all these tolls and stuff. So we stopped at a gas station, and there's no way the guy there spoke English, but I just like pulled out my Google Translate and asked him where an ATM was, and he pointed across the street. And then
Yeah.
we got our cash. Like that kind of stuff is so easy and helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of which, well, one place that I think people are always afraid to travel, like it sounds scary to most adults, is going to somewhere like Colombia. I think the news and like Netflix made Colombia out to be this place where Americans are getting kidnapped all the time, and it's like drug lords
Mm-hmm.
live there and stuff. But when the pandemic happened in early 2020, you went and just bought a ticket to Colombia. Is that right?
Yes, most people were booking flights back into the country, and then I
Yeah.
booked a flight out to Colombia.
I love that so much. You told me you were frantically looking for flights to get away from America, and I thought that was so fascinating.
I
Um,
was. So I've been watching the trajectory of the pandemic for a
yeah,
while, and there was places around the world were shutting down, and it was just inevitable that it was going to happen here. And I've really been wanting to like work and travel for a long time, and I thought,
sure.
okay, where if I want to quarantine somewhere, where do I want to quarantine? Not in my New York apartment in the winter.
Uh huh.
And this seemed like that opportunity of sorts to just roll the dice and go somewhere.
Yeah. Well, was
Yeah.
that the first time that you worked and traveled?
So I have worked and traveled intermittently. I worked at Google for a few years, then I left that job and I booked a one-way ticket to Tunisia. And then I was traveling and freelancing, but I probably more traveled than I did freelanced.
Got
So
it.
yeah, I was like working on websites and
And that was about 4 years ago, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you've been sort of traveling and working more recently, then I guess it's only in the last like few years, or even the last year or two, that you've been doing this like full time travel work anywhere you want.
Yeah, yeah. Since the pandemic hit, this has been like real work and travel and then real like full-time work and travel. Cause when I was
Yeah.
freelancing and traveling, I could really like decide on my own. And then I had saved up for traveling.
Got it.
So
And do you find, so maybe more logistical questions, like where is all your stuff in the world?
yeah, when left New York and moved out officially after my 4 month long quarantine in Colombia, I just donated most of my stuff. I have winter clothes sitting in my parents' house around Boston,
Uh-huh.
but pretty much everything I own is in my backpack. And I don't really have that many prized possessions. I just like my
Sure.
computers and then my drone.
I love this. Okay, so you you're not even traveling with a carry-on suitcase. You just have a backpack, like a traveler's backpack or whatever.
Yeah, I just have a backpack. I have two backpacks, one little one. I do
Yeah.
kind of sometimes wish I had a roller suitcase though, just because it's easier to walk around with.
I
But yeah,
know. I think after my 20s, I was like, I don't really need a backpack for anything. Like, there's nowhere that I'm going that I can't just like roll a thing, unless I was going to the interior of Congo on a boat
yes,
or whatever. Then I would need a backpack,
yeah.
right?
It's because I like to do those sorts of things that
Yeah, yeah,
I do not have the roller, but the roller
got
is
it.
nice to have.
It is. And so, so are you the kind of person like that I see in an airport when you have a big backpack on your back and then like a regular backpack on your front, and you're just walking around like a turtle?
Yes, exactly. I
I
have a
love it.
carry-on size backpack though, is my big backpack. It just makes
Oh,
it.
okay. Oh, that's pretty good.
That's what I
Um,
actually really wanted because some flights can just be so expensive. If you want to check in a bag, it's like twice the price.
yeah, and you don't want to have stuff get lost, or yeah, I never, I hate to pack stuff under the plane, especially if you have a drone or things like that. You don't want things to get missing in another country. Or is it easy to travel with a drone? I feel like when I went into Morocco, it was like 100% no drones allowed. But are you finding Europe doesn't mind, or you can just fly into Europe or the Congo with a drone, no problem?
I had problems in Mexico. Coming
Yeah.
into Amsterdam was like completely fine. This was like the easiest.
Yeah.
immigration I've encountered. They're very nice. But do have to look up different countries and what their rules are.
Yeah. Some are
I
very
have
strict.
previously not, and then I've gotten through. But
Okay.
Mexico, I
Got
had to
it.
pay a tax.
Yeah. I think Mexico, Cuba, like Morocco, some of these places are super strict about it. I think they're really afraid of, I don't know what it is, like unofficial news reporters or anti-propaganda or something. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, sometimes I think about it and it is kind of strange that there are so many human beings that can just walk around with something that is quite like powerful like a drone. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, a lot of them though, they just like will charge you taxes on it. So it just depends on
got it.
like who is checking your bag. And then don't be like me and say you have a drone.
Sure, sure. So, what kind of drone do you have, and where can we see some of your footage? Are you posting this stuff anywhere?
Yeah, I have a Mavic Air 2. And I post on my Instagram Lost Shmi. It
Okay,
describes my state of being, which is generally lost.
that's amazing.
I
Oh,
do have
how
a
do you spell
website that I was
Shmi?
thinking so
How do you spell Shmi for your followers out there?
SHMI.
Oh yeah, so Lost Shmi is your Instagram.
Hmm.
Cool. Okay, cool. I'm excited. I'm actually going to be looking that up and following you. Um, and what do you like to film with your drone?
Well, I've loved having it while traveling. It's honestly been it's sometimes changed the way that I travel. Like sometimes I'll go to places just because I think, oh wow, actually it'd be like really dope to fly my drone here because I can get some amazing shots. There's some places
Yeah,
that you go to and then it looks cool, but then once you see the aerial view of where you are, you're like, whoa.
that's
um,
awesome. Yeah, there's like foresty places, and yeah, I think the Congo one's going to be amazing for you. Anytime
yeah,
you have
I'm
like a
so
river
excited.
cutting through something or like a long highway cutting, yeah, that's cool.
Hmm. Yeah, and you
Oh,
really
I'm
like get
excited for you.
yeah. Yeah, I'm excited too. I hope I
So
don't like crash it. I don't know, we'll see.
I know. I literally have one drone, and it is in the bottom of a moat in
Really?
France, in the south of France right now. Um, I was like, oh, I got 5 minutes left on the battery. I'll just do one last flyover. And then it was like, at 3 minutes, it decided it was like emergency landing time. And I just couldn't
Yeah.
bring it back. Like there was I
Oh,
tried and then
man.
it got like, I fumbled it and it just sank.
This happened to me in Tulum. It didn't end up in the bottom of the ocean, thank goodness, but
Uh,
it just started landing because I guess
yeah.
it was like an actual restricted zone and it doesn't return to
Oh,
home or anything. It just starts descending. And
yes.
so, yeah, I was just frantically trying to bring it to shore. And then I landed it like, it was like a mile away from me to go run and get it.
That's so ridiculous. Yeah, it just goes straight down and you can kind of override it, but it's not easy. And if you like, oh man, that was really stressful.
Yeah.
So are you how do you know where to go in the Congo? Like, are you meeting other people there? Are you just doing like a self-guided tour? Are you like, what is your plans out there?
So I have been there once before. I went last year, mid-year, and
Yeah.
so I met people there. Some people that run companies that help people get up there. They'll usually work with like researchers or scientists.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
but yeah, so I had posted some things about going to the Congo, and there was just an overwhelming response from people there. It was very heartwarming, actually. Um,
I love that.
so yeah, yeah, it was people were like, oh my god, I haven't seen someone post something positive about my country. That there was a few people that said that that really hit me. Um,
They were saying that about the Congo.
so yeah, there are people that live in the Congo and they'd seen some of the things that I posted and they were like, I've
Oh, I
literally
see.
never seen someone post something positive and they were just like, really happy to see that. And so a lot of people just like reached out and um yeah, I've been like helping me arrange things because I don't know French um I would not be able to get around the Congo on my own.
Got it. That's so
Um,
cool. Um,
mhm.
and are your I want to ask just one more broad question, then we'll go kind of niche into like your how you work and stuff, I guess. But
Mhm.
are your parents at all concerned about you?
It's a good question.
Thank
Um,
you. Because you're kind of
mm,
like, I'm assuming you're Indian or Pakistani descent, and I feel like
mhm.
parents would be, I don't know, you just live a very unusual life for most kids,
Yeah, I think
right?
at this point in time, they're just like, "Oh, yeah, she just does that." But I
Oh
also
my God.
sometimes tell them about things after the fact. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but at this point in time, I think they just kind of accept it. But yeah, I mean, my mom is doesn't like traveling. I never traveled growing up. Like I'd actually never been on a plane up until I flew to Ghana when I was 17. And
No
then since then I've just
way.
been flying everywhere. Mhm. Yeah.
Wait, how old were you when you flew to Ghana?
I was 17. It was my freshman year, summer in
Okay.
college.
Yeah, I kind of didn't travel until I was 21, actually. I had only been to Mexico and Canada. And then I
Mhm.
took a semester at sea and I
Oh,
studied abroad
yeah.
and went around the whole world on a ship. And it was cool. It was kind of like
Yeah.
your style. Like I went straight from nothing to like Cuba and Brazil
Yeah.
and South Africa and Tanzania. It was a really crazy trip. But it really it made me fall in love with travel immediately. And I grew so much
Mhm.
and met amazing people, best memories of my life. And now I've just vowed to travel every year to somewhere new since
Mhm.
2003, basically. Do you have like travel habits or habits in your life that kind of ensure that you're sort of living your best life?
Um,
Or you're just following your heart wherever you want to go?
I don't plan things
Got
much.
it. Yeah, as we know, because
Um,
now you're in Amsterdam randomly.
but I do try to have like um some like new bigger adventure that I haven't done before that maybe like previously I was like more afraid of or like not sure how to do.
That's
And like try
interesting.
to make it happen. So like this journey to the Congo, going up the Congo River is something I've like always wanted to do for a very long time. And I like saw on National Geographic. Um, but
I love that.
it's like felt out of reach or like, only something I could pretend to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I want to make it happen. And yeah, so I'm like doing that. And I have these like I have these like bucket list things that um
Yeah, maybe that's more it for you. Well, can you name a couple of the others that you have?
yeah, I want to go herd reindeer in the Siberian Arctic. Live in that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that just became one of mine now. That's awesome.
Yes, come. Come to the
Okay.
Yamal Peninsula.
And what else? That's a great one.
um, I wanted to go to North Korea
Oh yeah,
and
that's
visit
interesting.
there. That's a whole nother
I've,
story. It's actually supposed to go,
oh,
but then I fell off a
but
balcony instead.
you fell off a balcony. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I fell off a balcony instead in New York.
Okay, just tell the story in like 2 minutes. This is good.
Yeah, I really like just like jumping on railings on my fire escape all the time. And I used to live in New York City.
Uh huh.
And one day I was in our new roommates like welcome to New York party. And I was just hopping on to like my normal spot. And then there was like a lot of people in the fire escape. And then I slipped, it had been raining. And then I fell 2 stories, but then I hit a vent on my way down with my shoulder and then landed on my
Oh
feet.
no way!
Yep.
Wait, like you landed on your feet standing up?
Yeah. Yeah. So I hit this vent and then I just flipped off onto my feet.
That's insane. And did you break your shoulder? You said?
I did break my shoulder, so I have this like scar here, and I
Oh,
have a
that's
metal plate in
crazy.
my shoulder. Um, but it's okay because I think Cirque du Soleil will accept me one day just based
Okay,
on that.
good. And you were supposed to go to North Korea at some point, like right around then, but you had to cancel your trip, or what?
Yeah, like 2 days after I was supposed to go to China and
Oh,
then North Korea and then Kyrgyzstan.
damn, those are crazy places. It's so fascinating to me that like every single place you name, I think is like at the bottom of most people's lists of places to
Yeah,
go.
it's true. But I usually I read a book usually what happens, and then I'm like,
Oh,
oh, that's fascinating. Like I have to go and see it.
that's cool. But what would you ever read about Kyrgyzstan?
Oh, that was to visit my friend who was in the Peace Corps there. So that's a great
Okay,
question.
got
I
it.
actually know nothing about Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah.
I was just gonna show up.
I love that. So I want to suggest, and maybe you've done this, or maybe you might be doing this, but if you are going to Siberia, I took one of my bucket list trips back in 2016 was going on the Trans-Siberian Railway, and I went
Mm,
from Moscow to Siberia to Mongolia to China. But if
mm.
you wanted to get over there in an interesting way, that's a very fun way to do it.
Oh, yeah. Can I
And
work
it's the
from the
longest
train?
railroad. You oh, that's a little tricky. You might need no. I would say no. You'd have like, but you'd get to Siberia in about 4 or 5 days. But you'd definitely have to
Mm,
take a little bit of a break. That was also the longest I'd gone, just no shower or nothing. Like it was not great conditions, but it was definitely an adventure,
mm.
especially for the people that you meet on the train. Um, Yeah, but if you can't work, maybe it's a little trickier, but still a cool ride. It's also the longest train. It's the longest railroad in the world, and you travel through 12 different time zones if you take like the whole path from
Right.
Moscow to
Well,
like the other side.
it's going on the bucket list.
Okay, good. Another
Even
book.
if
Oh,
I'm
okay.
retired.
You what?
Said even if it has to happen when I'm retired.
I know. Well, it'll happen sooner than that, I'm sure. Another a good book for you too, by the way, is The Great Railway Bazaar. Have you ever
Mhm.
heard of that one?
No.
You might love it. Hold on. Let's see. It's by Paul Thoreau, and he just talks about like in the 70s, he went on every kind of major, what do I want to say, like every popular or famous train line or railway line in the world, and it
Mhm.
includes like ones in Peru to Machu Picchu, and like the one that I went on in Mongolia and stuff, and he went through Vietnam, and it's really cool because he's kind of doing your style travel, but in the 70s, you know? So really like far off remote places and just sort of showing up and seeing what happens. But
That is
I bet it'll
legit.
inspire you a lot. Yeah, that's good. So you're going to really interesting places. And my question for you now is how long are you planning on being in the Congo? And then what will happen after that to you?
Hmm. I will be in the Congo for probably about like 3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer.
Okay.
On vacation for 2 of the weeks, I think. I think
Yeah.
in 10 days, I'm gonna fly up to Kisangani, which is like the northernmost point in the interior that you can fly up to.
Oh,
And then take a boat on the river and visit the pygmies there.
oh
Um,
my gosh.
do some
This
extreme
is
fishing, which will be interesting because I've
crazy.
never gone fishing.
What is extreme fishing?
So they're fishing in um, like crazy conditions, and they build
Oh,
these like really interesting structures out of wood with these baskets, and
yeah.
that's how they catch fish out there. They also like do spear fishing and things like that. Um,
Cool.
yeah, so I'm
This
gonna
is
try to do
wild.
all of the above. We'll
I'm
see how.
actually nervous for you, and I don't get nervous very much, but I just know there's like insane, like mosquito kind of bites, things and things that you can get, like crazy diseases out there. Yeah, in the Congo.
You can get bitten.
Yeah.
There are some shots, like vaccines you'd want to get.
Uh huh.
But otherwise, just wear bug spray and like thin, long sleeves are generally good. But
You're
I
not worried
think that
about
there's
like animals.
a lot of fear about those things. But
Yeah.
for the most part, uh, people can get malaria, but then also
Yeah.
like you're not going to die from it. Um,
You're
it's
funny. Yeah, I remember you said when
not,
you went.
this isn't a good thing to say to encourage people to go. Um,
No, I know, but it's kind of like saying like you could get COVID and you're probably not going to die from it, right?
yeah, and
Like
then
if you're of a certain age, you might
yeah,
be
and then
okay.
you're not like living there. It's
Yeah.
you're just gonna be there for like a block period of time.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to
Um,
check in with you in a month and see how you're doing over there.
yeah.
And I guess I want to know if you're do you feel happy in all circumstances, or do you feel like restless when you're back in New York, kind of living a more normal life? Or how do
That's a
you
great
gauge,
question.
yeah, your contentedness in the world?
I really love going back to New York City and seeing people. I think I do get restless.
Hmm.
Um, and I think this is something that I hoped that I would get over, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think I've come to terms with the fact that I'm probably not going to get over it anytime soon and just
Hmm.
gonna embrace it and keep having adventures.
I
But
don't
you know,
think
I
it's a
was,
bad
I
way
was
to be.
sad.
Yeah. I said I don't think it's a bad way to be, you know?
Mhm.
And I think, well, keep going. I interrupted you. I have more thoughts about that, but I want to hear the end of your thoughts. Yeah.
Um, well,
But
I
you're
guess I just
happy.
put a thought on top of your thought, which was like, now that it is like a great way to be, and I think I would have a harder time if like there wasn't social media and such an easy way to keep in touch with people. But
Oh,
then I can
yeah.
like talk to all of my friends all the time whenever I want to.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, and I think at heart I'm like probably more of an introvert. Like I like being alone. I can travel by myself for like a while and like it's fine. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and I think being in one place sometimes like it does get me restless.
Yeah, I think I agree with that statement. And for me, it's not necessarily being in one place. It's like I get a little bit of red flags when I start to feel too comfortable. and
Yes. Yeah.
and you know what I mean, and I feel like there's no growth in comfort, right? It's just a stasis
Mhm.
sort of way of being, and forcing myself to see something new really grows me a lot and challenges like who I am and what I believe and what I'm about. And I feel like you're doing that sort of in the extreme of just going into places and civilizations that are nothing like your own, right?
I love that. Yeah, that's true. And my philosophy is no pain, no gain. It's my motto.
Got it.
Um,
So you're just
yeah,
breaking
and
shoulders and hiking through the
yeah.
through rivers. I love it. Yeah. So I guess a couple of more. This is honestly, I'm just interviewing you because I'm so fascinated by your life. I'm like very just curious. Hopefully, people listening are getting inspired by this somehow, or will reach out to you and ask some more stuff. But do you read or like bring books with you while you're out there, or like what do you bring with you uh, for long plane rides or evenings, alone or whatever? How do you spend your time, like your free time?
I love audiobooks. I've gotten really into them lately. So I like, carrying books is hard. Um,
Yeah,
although when I traveled before, I realized that like when I wasn't traveling, it was the only time that I didn't read. Um, so I think like traveling really does make me want to like grab a good book. What I love
yeah.
about audiobooks is you can like walk around and like do stuff. I do have like less time to just like sit down and curl with a book because I'm like trying to like travel and work
Sure.
and do all these different things. So making time to read like isn't always possible. But then audiobooks fix that because like then I can
Hmm.
just be in line at the airport or like sitting
Yeah,
there waiting for my flight and just like be listening to
yeah.
a good book all the time.
It's for all the lines that you're in traveling.
Yeah.
I think it truly is. On the way to the
Mhm.
airport, in line at the going through security, waiting in line for the plane. Even walking around or whatever. Yeah, I love it. That's the best. I realized during quarantine in the pandemic, like I stopped listening to podcasts and reading so much because I just wasn't on the subway anymore, and I had
Mhm.
to like figure out new ways to like get to read again. It was weird. Um, so, what are you reading right now? And maybe we'll end with just a couple final inspiring words for our listeners. But anything good that you've been listening to or that you've just finished?
I just read a book called DMT, The Spirit Molecule.
Okay.
It's a really
DMT
fascinating book.
is the thing in our brain that attaches to, it's like psilocybin. Like if you do mushrooms, that activates DMT inside of us. Am I wrong?
So, no, it's pretty close. Well, so DMT is a molecule that's released when you're dying. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and it's the only endogenously produced psychedelic, meaning that like your body naturally produces it, and
Got
it's
it.
found in like various plants. So it's the active ingredient in ayahuasca. Um,
Okay. That's it.
this book is written by a researcher. He was the first researcher to um, administer DMT to patients as
Mm,
part of a study, and he like documents all of it. It's really fascinating.
cool. I feel like, yeah, Tim Ferriss is pretty famous for pushing this whole world forward. I'm sure he's interviewed this guy too. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I listened to Tim Ferriss's podcast, and there's quite a few that
Yeah.
fall into this like topic area.
Well, he's like really pushing. I think he's donating like millions of dollars to Stanford research, and
Mm.
I think they're getting the green light finally to actually do MDMA trials and stuff, and especially around like PTSD and healing stuff. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
there's
cool.
quite a few medicinal. There's a lot of medicinal value, I think,
Yeah,
in all of these, and it's sad that there's so much progress that's been hindered by
totally.
arbitrary placement of them in like schedule. The in the schedule of drugs, it's like worse than like heroin.
Yeah, which is wild. So,
Mm.
have you ever done ayahuasca? And if you have, did you do it in an interesting place?
I have done ayahuasca. I did it for the first time in Brazil, up
Okay.
in Manaus near the Amazon jungle.
Yes, I knew it. That's so amazing. Ah, do you feel like you want to write a book about your life at some point, or no? Or like your story? Is there a book inside of you?
I feel like this is something that I would love to do, like, going on this Trans-Siberian Railway. And I can like
Yes.
get my pen and paper out, have like a long period of time. Yeah, I mean, I love writing. I think um it's just great to do. And I haven't previously written that much like for other people. And I think
Mm.
it would actually be good exercise for everyone to do. Like if you were to write a book about your life, like what it would be like, and like, do you like it,
Yeah, yeah. Is this a book that you would want to read?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And is
great.
it the life you want to live kind of thing. So I think it's a good
Yeah.
exercise. So yes, I'll write a book. Why not?
Okay, good. Well, I will definitely read it. I feel like there's hundreds of things you haven't told me, and I know, like, even when you quit Google, you bought a one-way ticket to Tunisia, right?
hmm
Yeah, I saw this on your like Medium post somewhere. I think it's so fascinating. So, do you have any tips, or I don't know how to say tips? Is there any advice you have for like women your age who are maybe like interested but hesitant to just go and travel out in the
Yeah.
world?
I mean, I think that although we're in a pandemic at the same time, this is like a great time to try it out because everyone is still doing remote.
Hmm.
And that's just for generally everybody. And for like women specifically, I am a huge proponent of encouraging women to travel. I think it's actually really important for women to do that because like we were encouraged like far too much to never be alone. Like girls even like will go to the bathroom together. Like
Yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous. And it's just such a like liberating experience to go by yourself. It's hard at first, but then you get used to it, and then you get really comfortable like being by yourself. And I think that's just like a really good um feeling to know that you can be by yourself and like enjoy it, and like that's no big deal. And you'll also
yeah,
meet plenty of like cool people along the way, and you probably won't be alone.
yeah. That's what I tell people. Like when I travel alone, I'm only alone for the plane ride, and then it's almost guaranteed that I'm like around people wherever I am. Right?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely
Especially if
true.
you're staying in hostels or you're in a tour group or whatever. Or I like to travel places where I know somebody on the other side, and then I'm in.
hmm
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I feel I love what you're doing with your life. I'm so impressed, and it's like very inspiring to me as well. Because you're pushing sort of the limits of where people think they can travel, and I think that's really cool. So thank you so much for being on here. I am sure I want to do a follow up interview in a year and see what else you've done in the past 12 months. But thank you, thank you, thank you. You're amazing. People can find your Instagram is Lost Shmi, SHMI. And you
Mhm.
said you have a website too, or no?
There is lastme.com.
Okay, cool. Then that's it. People could follow along, follow you on Instagram, and I hope you have a beautiful trip in the Congo.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yay.